All right, shalom, shalom. First off, give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakar giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS, salutes and honors to all the elect Akim across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, all the men and the women who follow. This is Brother Kratazah from the Fountains of Living Waters, coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. This lesson being entitled War in the Middle East, How It Affects America / Babylon, and What's to Come. I know that's a kind of a lengthy title, but Lord's Word is edifying. And I want to start off with this video that I got um, from this brother Jeremiah, servant of Yahweh Shai. Very good page to follow on Instagram. Definitely recommend it. But I'll go ahead and play this. And like I said, Lord's Word, this video is edifying.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. What the fuck? Oh, my God. Oh, my fucking God. What? Oh, my God. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, shit. What the fuck is going on right now? They fucking Dimona up. What the fuck? Look at this shit. Bro, this some next level shit right here. Look at this shit. Whoa. Look how many is coming down. Oh my God. What the fuck? Bro, it's like Independence Day out. Oh shit. What? Oh shit.
Right. So watching the video, we can see this guy is in Israel, and these are the drones and all the missiles that Iran fired at Israel. And as we play the video, you can see them like coming in. And supposedly Israel has the best missile defense system in the world. The Iron Dome, nothing gets through the Iron Dome. Well, these is hitting. Now you can see some of them like that are getting taken out in the air, but not all of them. A lot of that one was taken out, but that one was taken out. That one, but a lot of these all got through. Ain't no stopping it at this level, at that height. And he mentioned Demona is getting fucked up. All right. Now, Demona, Israel, there's a community of Israelites in Demona, Israel. It says the Black Hebrew Israelite community in Demona, Israel is a spiritual community of African Americans and their Israeli born descendants who reside primarily in the city of Demona, right? So you had all those followers of Ben Ami, Ben Israel, right? They came over there and they went to Demona. They settled in Demona, Israel, which is pretty much a um a dump, for lack of a better terms, you know. But they built up that community, um, and now look at them. They're getting fire rain on them, because they're not following the laws of Yahweh Shem Yahshai. Not really the laws, but the ordinance that was given out by Yahweh Shem Yahshai. So let's get this real quick. This is First Kings chapter 9, and I'm gonna start at verse 6. It says, but if ye shall at all turn from following me, ye or your children, and will not keep my commandments and my statutes which I have set before you, but go and serve other gods and worship them, which we did, then will I cut off Israel out of the hand of the land which I have given them, and this house which I have hallowed for my name will I cast out of my sight, and Israel shall be a proverb and a byword among the people. Right? So The Lord cut us off, kicked us out the land, all right, and gave us a bill of divorce. So that proves two things. That proves that those people who are in the land now are not the true people. It also says that the people of who are our people who went over there shouldn't be over there. And this is a consequence. Why? Because the land still has to be cleansed, right? The land still has to be destroyed and cleansed through that fire, and then we come back and inherit the land. So let's grab this real quick. This is Jeremiah chapter 23. And I'll go to the point, verse 3. It says, "And I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all the countries whither I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they should be fruitful and increase. And I will set up the shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, saith the Lord." Right? So this is speaking about in the kingdom. In the kingdom, that's when we're going to come back and inherit the land. That's when we're going to come back and be in our power, but not on this side. So it's just proving that, those people moved to Dimona, Israel, and now, they're falling victim to the glittering sword. So let's get that, because I seen this this visual, and it put me in the mindset of this precept. It says Job 20:25, "It is drawn, it cometh out of the body, yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall, terrors are upon him." Right? So that coming out of the body is speaking about the missile silos. Right now, these aren't nuclear ICBM missiles right here, but that glittering sword, right? This is what the glittering sword is going to look like when it is nuclear missiles. So just imagine when these are nuclear missiles or nuclear warheads falling down, the damage and the destruction, that's what it's going to look like, but the boom is going to be boombastic. Boombastic, right? So I got a audio I want to play of this guy right here, Scott Ritter. He's on the Redacted podcast. I don't want to get not demonetized, but I'm not making any money off this channel. But I don't want to, get a strike. So I'm gonna just keep his picture right here, and we'll play the audio.
Scott, welcome to the show. Can you hear us? Okay.
I can hear you fine. I apologize for running late there, but as you said, it's my day's no longer my day. I don't own it.
Yeah.
No, well, everyone wants your expertise, and for good reason. You warned the world about the lie that was the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and that they did not have them. Congress didn't listen to you, the world didn't listen to you, and then millions of people died as a result of this. So now we're sitting here watching Israel saying we had to defend ourselves. We struck the Natanz nuclear facilities. Radiation is falling out. We had to do it because Iran was days away from a nuclear weapon, and they did it right before nuclear talks on Sunday. How did we get here?
Well, we got here because the United States of America could never reconcile the fact that we lost an ally in Reza Shah Pahlavi back in 1978-79. We got here because of our support for Reza Shah Pahlavi. The people of Iran viewed the United States as an enemy. In a moment of passion, students captured the U.S. Embassy, held American hostages for hundreds of days, and it led to a failed rescue mission that had 8 American bodies left on the sands of the Iranian desert. We've never forgiven Iran for our failure there. It happened because of our intervention in Lebanon, where Iranian-backed militias blew up a Marine barracks, killing 241, 242, 203. I can't remember the exact number. American Marines, soldiers, sailors. We've never forgiven for that. We got here because we illegally invaded and occupied Iraq, and Iran supported the Shia of Iraq to resist this, and hundreds of Americans were killed. because they were fighting Iranian-backed militias. We've never forgiven Iran for that. We got here because we've allowed our prejudice against Iran to be exploited by the Israelis to the point where we have denied Iran the right to have nuclear enrichment capability that was permitted under Article 4 of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which Iran is a signatory to and has adhered to inspections, but Israel is not. We've got to this point where we've embraced Israel's regime change policy focus on Iran so that we don't know how to live peacefully in coexistence with Iran. And we've been seeking to remove the Iranian regime through sanctions and by using, intelligence-driven, uprisings inside Iran. We got here because we've made ourselves incompatible to the existence of the Iranian government.
So I want to stop it right there because he's saying a lot. So he's saying we got here for a number of reasons, but one of the last reasons he gave was Israel and their need to number one, bomb them because they had the so-called nuclear weapons, but two, they wanted to get the regime change. They wanted to basically to attacking and out Iran, right? So let's grab this scripture real quick. This is Jeremiah 49:20. It says, "Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he has taken against Edom and his purposes," which Edom is the so-called white man. It says, "in his purposes that he have purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. It says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them." Right? So the least of the flock are these Israeli people. All right. And they're going to be the ones who pop off this third world war, which all this war, all these missiles going back and forth being shot, like you see over here, all this is going to help usher in the World War III, which it's been started, it's just not the full level of, of like a World War II, how World War II it was really hot, Archduke Ferdinand got assassinated, and then you had alliances formed, and people started, invading one another, and it was on like hot butter popcorn. But this war is being fought on different arenas. You have the Ukraine-Russia arena, you have the Israel-Iran arena, you have the China, South China Sea, and Taiwan arena. America beefing with China. It's just it's set in so many different places, right? So let's just grab this real quick while we're here. Revelation 11:14, the second woe was past, and the third woe cometh quickly, right? So technically, we've been in World War III since the Cold War. That's how the third woe came quickly. Because you would say, well, how is the second war past and the third war coming quickly, but it's more time between the first or between the second and the third than it is the first and the second. Well, immediately after the second ended, the Cold War started. And the Cold War was really the beginning of World War III. And, that's a subject for another lesson. I believe I have a video on it, with all the different wars and different conflicts that was fought during the Cold War, which Russia and America was back in either side, but now it's really getting hot. Now it's very much heating up, and you have action. You have missiles being fired. All right, this is the second time that these two countries have exchanged missiles within the past year. And matter of fact, we got a statement. I'm gonna get back to Scott Ritter here in a second. I just want to read this statement. This is from Reuters, and it's from today, June 15th. All right, it says Israel and Iran launched fresh attacks on Sunday, killing and wounding civilians and raising concerns of a broader regional conflict with both militaries. Both militaries urging civilians on the opposite side to take precautions against further strikes. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said that he hoped a meeting of the Group of Seven leaders in Canada on Sunday would reach an agreement to help resolve the conflict and keep it from escalating. Iran has told mediators Qatar and Oman that it is not open to negotiating a ceasefire with the U.S. while it is still under Israeli attack. So, hey, as long as these niggas are shooting missiles at us, there is no ceasefire. You know, if it's up, it's up. You know what I mean? If they want to keep, they sent 5 waves over to Iran, Iran, and guess what? Iran sent 5 waves back. Now I'm not going to jump the gun because Scott has some really cool things, not really cool, but you know, some interesting, I'll say, facts that he's going to speak about. And it's just, man, hey man, we in the last days, we are in those times. You know, matter of fact, there was a scripture on here. It says Romans 13 and 11 through 14. And that knowing the time that now is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. You know, this close, man. We knocking at the door, right? It says the night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness. Let us put on the armor of the light. Let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting, not in drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envying, but put ye on the Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach, and make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof, right? So just get your mind straight, get in the game, you know, because this is game time. You know, this is fourth quarter, you know, 85-85, you know, let's go. And we got to get this dub. You know, it's getting down to the nitty gritty, as some people would say. So it says the Israeli military, which launched attacks on Friday with the stated aim of wiping out Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile programs, warned Iranians living near weapons facilities to evacuate. It says Iran will pay a heavy price for the murder of civilians, women, and children. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said from a balcony overlooking blown out apartments where 6 people were killed in Bat Yam, a town south of Tel Aviv. Now he's saying that they're going to pay for murder of civilians, women, and children. When you started it, that's like somebody is shooting at your vehicle and then you return fire at them and they say, "Oh, you murdered my sister in the passenger seat. You're gonna pay for that." No, nigga, you murdered your sister in the passenger seat because you started the fight. You started shooting at our car, and we returned fire. That's called self-defense. What Iran is doing is called self-defense. That's why they said we're not gonna negotiate a ceasefire while they're still attacking us. You want us to come and lay our guns down and let them still just have their guns and shoot us. No, that's not going to happen. You be crazy to expect anyone to do that. But these are the games that they play with wordplay. There'll be a heavy price to pay for the murder of civilians, women, and children. Well, nigga, you did it first. How many civilians, women, and children did you kill when you bombed Iran? Since Iran's armed forces told residents of Israel to leave the vicinity of vital areas for their safety. You know, and I seen pictures of the Tel Aviv airport. Let me see if I can. It was jacked up. Um, that's not it. I should have saved it. I think I seen it on like Facebook or something. Let me see. Yeah, it's not gonna show me, but Israel's equivalent of the Pentagon was destroyed as well. Look at that. It says significant damage. This is from Times of India, or the India Times. It says significant damage. Iran breaches Iron Dome, strikes Israel's Pentagon in Tel Aviv. You know, so they're causing some major damage. Get your ass inside. So, hey, man, this war in the Middle East, man, it's heating up. So I'm gonna let him finish talking, and then we're gonna go back to how it's gonna affect American Babylon here, and what to expect.
And we've embraced without hesitation Israeli policy. So, you know, there's no logic behind what we're doing here. This is basically just, one bad policy stacked upon another that's been shared by administrations, Republican and Democrat alike. And until we learn how to think of Iran as a nation that we can peacefully coexist with, and we're not threatened by the fact that it's governed by a Shia theocracy, we'll always be susceptible. And until we can distance ourselves from Israel and allowing Israel to dominate our national security priorities in the region, this kind of conflict is inevitable.
Now, I want to ask you about the burden of proof, because we have had our Archduke Ferdinand moment already. Israel said they had the weapons. We knew it. The IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Association, said, yeah, they're not in compliance. That's the rule. That's what and that was based on a vote. Iran released documents showing that the IAEA was political, as if we needed that proof. We talked, you and I and Clayton, when the IAEA, Rafael Grossi, went to the Zaporizhzhia power plant in Ukraine and said, yes, there are bombs here. Can't tell where it comes from. When Russia had proof that it came from Ukraine, we knew that they were political stooges. And so has the burden of proof now been put to bed? It doesn't even matter anymore because the war is off to the races.
Well, it does matter. I mean, it matters for a number of reasons. First of all, it matters because we are going to get into a debate going forward about the legitimacy of Israel's actions. Already you're seeing pushback around the world as what Israel did, this Pearl Harbor moment, as Colonel McGregor so rightfully and articulately said. It's a violation of international law. It violates everything the world's supposed to stand for in terms of conflict prevention. And it's predicated on a lie. I have said, and I've been on record saying this, that Iran is somewhat to blame for what's happened here, because they have waved the red flag in front of the Israeli bull. They have gone beyond that which is explainable under their peaceful nuclear program to enrich uranium to 60%. And when asked why, and I asked this to Iranian officials, they said it's because we want to be seen as a threshold state. That means that a state that could, if pushed, cross the threshold into being a nuclear weapons state. That's unacceptable under anybody's terms. So Iran created this, even though everything Iran did was legitimate and legal under.
Why? But why though? Why is it so bad that you can have weapons, but they can't? And they're not even saying that we want weapons. They're saying, hey, look, nigga, I ain't a killer, but don't push me. That's literally what he said. We're a threshold state. We don't have weapons, but if we want the power to get them, we'll get them. I ain't a killer, but don't push me. And guess what? Israel is pushing them. That's the redundancy of the so-called white man. I can have weapons that'll blow up your whole fucking country, kill everyone in it, but you can't. And if you try to get them, then I'll kill you. That's what Esau does. That's the game of the Edomite.
The Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, they in responding to the irresponsible policies of the United States and Israel, they helped create the conditions where Israel could justify its actions, saying that Iran is just one step away. But Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons, and I don't believe Iran will pursue nuclear weapons, even though they have said that if Israel attacks its nuclear facilities, they could very well do so. But the IAEA is also to blame here, because they've been played like a fine-tooth fiddle by the United States and Israel. I know for a fact that when I was a weapons inspector in the United Nations going into Iraq, that Israel played a very important role in providing intelligence information that was designed to paint the Iraqis in the worst possible light. How do I know? Because I spent 4 years traveling to Israel working with Israeli intelligence on these issues, nuclear, chemical, biological, missile, and I know the role Israel played. I also know for a fact that American inspectors on the ground gather information that is very useful for targeting the inspected sites. And how do I know? Because the data that was collected while I was inspector was shared by others with U.S. Central Command and used to launch weapons against Iraq. So we know that the IAEA has inspectors in Iran, who have gathered sensitive information about the technical layout and the physical characteristics of Iran's site that were used by Israel to strike. That's condemning. And we also know that the IAEA has allowed itself to be used politically. For instance, this report that was put out by the Director General, the Board of Governors, Iran is not in non-compliance. This report is ridiculous on the face of it, because every single point it's made, first of all, doesn't point to the existence of an Iranian nuclear weapons program. It shows that there's a technical issue of dispute between Iran and the IAEA, and the IAEA won't allow or won't accept Iran's explanations. But there's nothing about the things that have been pointed out that point to a weapons program.
So, Scott, there's a lot of maybe misinformation maybe floating around out there, and people in our chat are saying there's no radiation fallout.
And this, you'll appreciate this super chat. This is above your pay grade. This is
my pay grade. Yeah, Joe Biden.
That was what Biden said to you, right?
That's what Biden told you. That's what Biden told you.
That's what Joe Biden said about you.
This is above your pay grade, Scott.
I don't dispute. I mean, it's curious, because people that said that before Biden were Madeleine Albright, Secretary of State, and the Secretary of Defense said.
Okay, that's all I'm going to play on that. I'll send the rest of the video in the description. What I was alluding to earlier, which maybe I was watching another video and it was said, I watched several videos, but it was said that these missiles right here, these are the old missiles that Iran had. So what Iran is doing, Iran is shooting off all of its old missiles, not all the new technology, but all the old missile technology to get Israel to use this Iron Dome, right, to combat and to intercept all these missiles. So Israel is using their precious needed missiles to intercept these, while they're to shoot off all the old stuff. So when it comes to them to shoot off the new stuff, the good stuff, all of that's gonna hit. Let me see. And we're gonna get into that here pretty soon. Let me see. About $50,000. The cost of one Iron Dome missile, also known as the Tamir Interceptor, is estimated to be approximately $50,000. Other sources have provided a broader range estimate ranging from $20,000 to $100,000. While this may seem expensive, especially when compared to the cost of rockets it intercepts, some costing around $600 each, it's important to consider the overall value of the Iron Dome system. So $50K per interceptor. It says, according to Israeli media reports, the cost of a single Iron Dome interceptor is about $50K, while other systems can run more than $2 million per missile. Right? So they're saying it's $50K per missile. So let's pull up our calculator. So if you got to use 100 missiles to intercept, right? You times that by 50,000, you just spent $5 million, right? Just like that, right? So it adds up quickly. Now, $5 million might be a drop of the bucket, for a military budget, but that's in addition to everything else you got, So that's going to wrap up this portion of the video. Let's get to how it's going to affect America, because everything, so these rockets are coming from Israel all the way to Iran, right? And Iran all the way back to Israel. Now, one distinct possibility that could happen is that Iran, which they've done this before, could shut down the Strait of Hormuz, right? This little patch of water right here. And if they shut down this strait, or that particular piece of water right there, it can spell real bad news for the rest of the world. How say you? Let me see. Which countries export oil through the Strait of Hormuz? It says several countries in the Middle East rely on the Strait of Hormuz for exporting oil. These include Saudi Arabia, Iran, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Iraq. Additionally, a significant amount of Qatar's liquefied natural gas exports also transit through the Strait of Hormuz, according to Bloomberg.com. So if they shut this down, none of these countries can use it to get their oil out, which oil is their number one export. Now, Saudi Arabia would be able to trek all the way across, its country to use the Red Sea, but this is all fucking desert, I don't know exactly how the roads work. We can look it up, but it's going to cost significantly amount more money, to transport things going all the way around this desert, or going straight through it. I doubt if there's any roads going straight through it. It's a fucking desert, But I do know that there's. Let me see if we can get a. Saudi Arabia with the countries. So, okay, so Riyadh, that's like the one of the main cities. I know they had cities along the Red Sea, but where the oil fields at? That's the real question. Okay, they got an east-west pipeline. Okay, so it may not affect them as much. They got a pipeline going from east to west, you know, but that's for natural gas. Oh, 1, 2, and 3. Hey, the major oil fields are all on the east coast, which means it's all being pumped through the Persian Gulf. You know, that's doing extra to get it to go through the Red Sea. You know, so what does that mean? If all these countries are going to be prevented from using the Strait of Hormuz, then what does that mean for us here in America? Oil prices surge, stocks tumble as Israel and Iran clash. So you've probably seen this, at the pumps. Prices ain't the same. When war comes, stocks tumble, and especially in the Middle East, that oil price is going to go up, which means you're going to have to pay more for gasoline, pay more for plastics and all kinds, because petroleum is used for a lot more than just gasoline. Petroleum is used for a wide variety of purposes, primarily as a source of energy and a raw material for various products. It is used to make fuels like gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel for transportation, and heating oil for residential and industrial heating. Petroleum is also a key ingredient in plastics, synthetic materials, and numerous other chemicals used in everyday products, from cosmetics and pharmaceuticals to clothing and electronics. So everything can go up. All right. And then that's how you get that's how stocks start to go down. And that's how you get a crash, man. So this is a picture from Israel. Just look at the destruction, man. And this is one of their old missiles. That Iron Dome ain't protecting everybody as they thought it would. All right, this is from NBCnews.com. Let me see, was it dated? Dated June 13th, from a couple of days ago. Oil prices surge and stocks tumble Friday in the wake of Israel's strike on Iran's top military officials and nuclear sites. Says losses in stock markets accelerated in the afternoon after Iran began retaliating by launching airstrikes on Israel. The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq ended the day down by more than 1%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed lower by nearly 770 points and 1.8% decline. It was the worst percentage drop for all three indexes since May 21st. U.S. oil benchmark prices climbed roughly 7% to about $73 a barrel, the highest level since early April. U.S. government borrowing costs climbed. Tech stocks like Nvidia and Tesla moved lower, while shares in oil and defense industry firms like Chevron, Lockheed Martin, and Palantir traded up. Yeah, so Lockheed Martin, Blackwater, aka that's what they used to be, Blackwater. If you're familiar with them, do some research on them, right? All their stocks are up because these are literally people who make weapons for war and hire soldiers for hire, militia, you know, private, basically like a private army. All their stocks are up because, hey, war means money for them. Says gold prices are also near all-time highs, rising more than 1% to 3,400 $449 an ounce, and the price of a Bitcoin fell more than 1% to less than 105,000. So you can see how all this war in the Middle East is going to affect America / Babylon, right? Everything's going to be higher. Everything's going to just be more difficult, make your life more difficult. All right. And as these things keep going up, it's going to eventually lead to a collapse, or a collapse could happen, as more and more war happens in the Middle East, in Russia and Ukraine, like I said, around the world in these various different arenas. All that can put more pressure on the economy, who's already just holding on by a fucking thimble, a goddamn string. So, which could usher in the MOT to the B. So let's grab this. This is Habakkuk 2:6. It says, "Shall not all these take up a parable against them, and a taunting proverb against them, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, which this thick clay, Ibadia, meaning heavy debts." So war is not good for the stock market. It's great for us. We love seeing this because it's a plus. It's furthering prophecy, and it's furthering the financial collapse, and speeding up for them to enact this MOT to the B. Just come with it. We ready. You got the wars and the rumors of wars. Everybody's protesting. The world is at war with each other. What a time to be alive. Everything that we've been preaching is being validated, right before our eyes. It's not a time to slow down. It's time to, really lock in, and do what's needed in these times. So Lord's will, I know it's kind of lengthy, but Lord's will, this is edifying. And with that being said, we give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakar, giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, of the men and the women who follow. Shalom.